Hello and welcome to day two of genetics review of living environment. Hopefully by this point you've worked out the review questions for living environment, the worksheet that I have uploaded to Google Classroom. In this little episode, I'm going to go over this worksheet here. These are questions that I have created a very long time ago, but they are very useful for reviewing genetics, and there are many region questions that I've added to this as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So basically, these are words related to genetics and um, genetic engineering, and all that stuff. All right. So let's go for the first sentence here. A blank is a circular piece of DNA found in bacteria for genetic engineering. So we have to find a word that means a circular piece of DNA. So let's go through the words first. That would be actually easier. So what exactly is a gene? A gene is part of the chromosome that determines something. So I'll give you an example. A chromosome, a part of the gene, BRCA, it's a gene for breast cancer. So that is a portion of a chromosome that will create a trait or whatever. So essentially, that's like the blueprint of the chromosome. So this is not a circular piece of DNA. This word here is selective breeding. Selective breeding is a phrase used when people are making organisms reproduce to receive a desirable trait. That does not relate to a single circular piece of DNA. Stem cells are cells made by your body that can turn into any type of organ. Like, like any cell can turn into your heart and that sort of thing. And so in that case, this is also not a circular piece of DNA. Helicase. Helicase is an enzyme that unwinds DNA. That is not a circular piece of DNA. Replication means when DNA makes a copy of itself. Again, not here. Phenotype is the physical expression of a characteristic, which means hair color, eye color. Translation is when RNA provides information to a ribosome to produce proteins. Heredity is passing of traits from parent to offspring. A genotype is the letters that associate itself with a physical characteristic. So, for example, a dominant and recessive, that's genotype. But for living environment, not a big deal. Plasmid. Plasmid is that special word we're looking for, a circular piece of DNA. So the first word is plasmid. Number two, picking two organisms to breed for selective breeding is known as, which one is this one? I hope you said it, selective breeding. The process where RNA goes into a ribosome to create a protein is known as, this one is called translation. Make this bold. All right. The next one, four, blank can differentiate into any type of cell. This was the word stem cells. So differentiate, so basically it can create any type of cell available. Blank explains why a child's eye color matches their mother's eye color. So that was heredity. A physical trait you can see on an organism is called a what? A physical trait. Physical trait. Well, that's called a phenotype. Again, I wouldn't worry about that word. It's not important. DNA makes copies of itself during the phase known as replication. All right. So the region of letter A. Now this is a chromosome. All right. So inside chromosomes are pieces of genes. So the answer here is 3, a gene. 9. Information in segments of DNA can be expressed by a bacterial cell as a result of what? So now this is a textbook region question. How do we answer it? We need to identify keywords in the questions and the answer choices. Information doesn't matter. DNA matters, right? We're going to just bold that word. Expressed. What does expressed mean? Expressed means to turn on or off by a bacterial cell. Ooh, a bacterial cell, that's important. So look what we have. We have bolded the words DNA, expressed, bacterial cell. Now, let's see which words we can cross out. Right here, sexual reproduction. Does this relate to sexual reproduction? Expressing DNA by bacterial cells? No, it does not. It does not help at all. We're going to cross out that answer. Next is random mutation. Yes, random mutation can be expressed, but we're talking about DNA from humans putting in bacteria. That's not related to mutation. So now we're at a point with 50-50. We have 50% chance of genetic variability or genetic engineering. Well, if we've been studying and paying attention, we know that if we insert DNA into bacteria, we're doing genetic engineering. So this is our correct answer. Alrighty? 10. A normal sequence of DNA bases in a single human skin cell is CATGGC. If this sequence replicates in the cell, this alteration will most likely be passed to who? Now, this question is very tricky. You have to look at it very carefully. Who is our key players here? The word DNA. A single human skin cell. Now, look at this. Is this a body cell or a sex cell? This one is a body cell. And we have to remember about body cells. Will this transmit to the next generation? If there's a mutation in our skin cells, will it be passed on to a baby's skin cells? It will not. So what we can put is mutates. The mutation does not is not hereditable. Is not inherited to offspring. Only sex cell mutations are inherited. So if this sequence replicates, this alteration will most likely be passed to, let's see, every cell that develops from it. That's a pretty ambitious term, don't you think? If I get a mutation on my hand, is that going to make a mutation in my heart or my liver or my brain? That's not likely. So we're going to cross this one out. 2. All human body cells. Again, all human body cells, so my skin, my heart, my lungs, yeah, so that's not it. Offspring. Now, as we just mentioned, a skin cell is a body cell. So a body cell is not going to be heritable. So our answer is all skin cells of this person. Okay? It's all skin cells, so the only ones passed down. 11. Hereditary traits are transmitted from generation to generation by means of, let's look at this. So we have hereditary traits transmitted, which means to pass on, by means of what? What is passing on traits? Do proteins pass on traits? No, they don't. Cross it out. Do carbohydrates pass on traits? Well, carbohydrates is food. It's food. Food definitely doesn't get passed on. If you eat an apple, that apple's not going to be sent to your baby's genes. It's not going to happen. 4. Specific starches making up DNA in reproductive cells. Let's look at this. We have the words reproductive cells, so that's sex cells and sperm cells, but then it says starch. What is starch? Starch is food again. Food again, and the food does not make up DNA. So 4 is incorrect. So that way, the answer is choice 1. Specific sequences of bases is in DNA in reproductive cells. Yes, DNA. Yes, reproductive cells, which are sperm cells and egg cells.